Okay, this could base. Mission misnag. Somebody who conducts stuff. Even all optional activities. It's okay. A goof name and his physical needs, but kedusha with holiness and so much. L'shem shamayim. Everything he does is for the sake of heaven. U'machnis beim avodas u'ratzon Hashem yisbarach, and he puts to them the avdus. Sorry, being a servant or a slave to Hakadosh Baruch Hu and ratzon Hashem. K'derech shel muzal. Chazal say by Hillel v'Shamai that they did everything l'shem shamayim. Zenikra Chassid. So it's a fascinating idea. He says he defines a Chassid as somebody does all their optional activities and physical deeds, b'kedusha l'shem shamayim. And so my shalav dafka medaktik al pishur esadin. It's not necessarily somebody who's meticulous in doing whatever halacha demands of him. No, the person who goes beyond that. How so? Zenikra, the person who does something according to the letter of the law, Zenikra b'chol abavcha. That's called doing things with all your heart, b'shnei yitzhara, with both your yetzer, hatov and yetzer hara. Tzaddik ukavish is yitzro. Tzaddik conquers his yetzer. So well, I should say this. I read that wrong. A chas is called b'chol abavcha. He does with things both the Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. Why? Because it's tzaddik, he restrains the Yetzer Hara. So tzaddik does things, optional activities. He tries to do as little as possible. Tries to refrain from them because they're possibly dangerous, and they're optional. They're optional activities. He doesn't have to do them, so therefore he'll refrain from doing them if he can. But a chassid is somebody who does the optional activities. He puts holiness gam b'chol chemnos hayetzer. Also, other things the Yetzer desires. It's a much higher and more difficult thing to do. And the idea of a chassid, therefore, is somebody who goes beyond the shuras hadin, beyond the strict level of law, and kind of takes chances, according to Rebbe talks about. Now, not everybody's going to chassid like this. Rambam doesn't want to chassid like this. Rambam says somebody who works on their midos and makes their midos above and beyond what the strict requirement, that's a chassid. Okay, normally it says learn a chassid, somebody who goes leaving the mishras hadin. Yes, but leaving the mishras hadin, we understand that it can even mean that you take precautions not to do things which the Allah allows you to do. So there are two different definitions of chassid which are not Reb Tzadok. One is that you make sure to do your midos above and beyond what's just precisely the ideal. You go beyond that to make sure, like, you'll be extra special humble, extra special in giving tzedakah, extra special in doing things which have to do with your midos. According to the other interpretation, the standard interpretation of chassid, it means you take precautions beyond what the law requires, extra special precautions. But according to tzedakah, it means you do things with your optional activities in this world, l'shem shamayim. Okay, and that's called b'shnei tzarecha because you're using stuff which normally you could consider yetzer hara. Like, according to Reb Tzadok, I'm not sure Reb Tzadok would say this. I'm giving this as a marshal, saying the Reb Tzadok would say eating a steak, l'shem shamayim, that's a chassid. Who says you have to eat a steak? Maybe you shouldn't eat a steak. Maybe very righteous people would never eat a steak because they want to take a chance of eating a steak not l'shem shamayim and succumbing to the yetzer hara. According to Reb Tzadok, no, that's considered to be an act l'shem shamayim. An act of chasidus, I should say. It puts kedusha all into the desires of the Yetzer Hara. Hashem yisbarach mida keneged mida, so then Hashem reciprocates. Hashem responds to him in kind. Mida keneged mida, noticing kedusha chol ma sheyaseh. Puts kedusha in everything he does. In other words, even the devar rishus, an optional activity, which you might think is not mitzvah, for this person becomes a mitzvah. Okay, he's not required to do it. It's not a mitzvah that is mitzvah v'osa. He's required to do it. No, but it becomes like a mitzvah because Hashem says, you're trying to put kedusha into an optional activity, I'll help you. I'll make a kaddish for you. He gets a lot of kedusha from things that other people regard as yetzer hara, and a tzaddik would stay away from because it's dangerous. Because it does it. V'az nikra tov ma'od, and that's called tov ma'od. She yotzim tov stam. It's the yetzer hara tov ra. It's called by the medrash tov ma'od. It's better than stam than just tov. It's very good. People like to do this. And again, there's a Tzadok's interpretation. Not necessarily agree with this. Place the Baalei Tshuva stand. Ain't tzaddikim gemurim omdim. Absolute tzaddikim can't stand there. Why? Because a tzaddik is not going to go into that place. A chassid will go into that place. It's an amazing statement. About tshuva, he already said in the previous two pieces, somebody who went zigged and now zagged. So the zag, let's not go leaving the short things. Let's go to places where a tzaddik can't go. That's what Tzadok is saying. Amazing Kiddush, right? Tzaddik can't take these chances. Tzaddik can't necessarily eat a steak. Tzaddik can't go and I don't know, swimming, right? Too much indulging, right? No, chassid can do it. It's an amazing statement. A tzaddik can't buy fancy clothes. Can't do it. Too much yitzhar of gaiva, arrogance, haughtiness. No, chassid can do it. I said Chassidim can buy Streimels and Beckershus, which cost lots and lots of money because they do l'shem shamayim. Of course, people can fool themselves, but theoretically. And not only that, he says Hashem Yisbarach mazmin lo takolos u'michsholim, because Baruch Hu takes this person, the person who will become a Baal Tshuva, puts him in place where there are obstacles and difficulties and stumbling blocks. V'tzarech tshuva kapar, and he has to do tshuva and kapar on this. How's that? Then he called chait. It's called a chait. If you but this way, again, he can take something. It takes something which is bad, negative, and make it positive. Remarkable statement, revolutionary statement about tshuva. But he said already in the previous pieces about tshuva and a chassid are related concepts. They go into places where a tzaddik can't go, and they bring out amazing things. But a tzaddik who doesn't ever leave the strict letter of the law. Hashem Yisbarach also conducts himself with him as a tzaddik that way, as a good tzaddik does. And a tzaddik will never be placed before Averos. Again, a remarkable statement. A tzaddik, Hashem says, okay, he wants to go according to Shuras Adin. He doesn't want to put himself in Nisyonis. I won't give him Nisyonis. David HaMelech, when he came to Kodesh Baruch Hu and asked Hashem to give him a test, he said, Lo chassid ani, am I not a chassid? He actually says in B'Sechus Brachos, in another context. But he says, I'm a chassid. So I'm a chassid, you should test me. Right? You should test me, and then, either I'll do the right thing, or I'll do tshuva. And that'll be the right thing to do. So David Melech was tested because he was a chassid, not a tzaddik. Tzaddik doesn't necessarily get tested. Again, amazing same by Tzadok. Just shocking. V'chein Isa b'Shabbos, Erev says Shabbos, but Ma'aser Drug carry a certain person who saw an emission, also chassid. So chassid. Why? Because a tzaddik wouldn't see carry. Tzaddik wouldn't give him an emission. A chassid, Kodesh Baruch Hu is an emission. Says, okay, now do tshuva. V'ayin Shem Barashi, I know he's referred to. I know the Beis Reish Hey Zayin. Birkas HaZevach, I think maybe it's the name of Sefer. But Tmura, Diak, he asked, Lama Perish Rasham V'Loba Brachas. It says, Ahu Chassid in Shabbos, and he doesn't explain who it is. And in Shabbos, he says, I think Yehuda ben Bav, I don't remember who it is. But in any event, why Rashi explained who it was in Shabbos, not in Brachos? Because in Brachos, it doesn't say anything bad. And Shabbos, he does. Kavanas Rashi, Lodia, Rashi's going to tell us, who he was. Dadam Gadol, he's a great person. You know that people who do have emissions don't feel bad about it. They can see that even a chassid gets these kinds of emissions. That's part of being a chassid, that you go, you zig and you zag, right? That's the idea. And that is not for no reason that he's called chassid. He's called chassid in order to teach us that a chassid goes back and forth. And several places where a person is called a chassid, there is a reason, which is for that. There's a reason for it. Okay, in order to teach us that the chassid has a different approach, because he tries to do different optional activities. Hashem gives him all sorts of tests and difficulties, which he has to overcome and deal with. the says he's was a great chassid, and so about Shich Bazera that he had an mission. The chazal also, since he was a great chassid, so he lived dangerously, so to speak, and he saw Shich Bazera. The Daikel Chassid Shemes Baruch Motzi Mazis Baruch puts a chassid in this place because it has this drive and this capacity. Let's see Yocham Mizolo. Take precious stuff out of stuff which is garbage, stuff which is cheap stuff, literally. Yoker Osios carry. Right, the amazing statement. He's like, right, he's saying Yoker is precious. Carry means an emission, which is inappropriate. Chassid gets put into this situation. Okay, do a mariz that's known for a rizal ki an nefashos the tipe carry. The nefashos which you can produce, and I don't know anything about this because this is Kabbalah, which is from the rizal, which I don't know anything about. But nefashos the tipe carry, if you the souls that you produce from having an emission, they're greater souls than ones that come out from having a relationship with one's wife. Don't ask me. Okay, and the chassid can produce these greater souls. And then we can't spend more time discussing this now because it gets too wild. So it's already got very wild. So the idea is, again, what we can take from this piece, because at the end he went way off and started zigging very far. So but we can take this piece that a chassid tries to do optional activities. And he has to know himself, know what optional activities he's really doing the Shem Shamayim, and which he's just tricking himself. The chassid does optional activities in Shem Shamayim, make sure to do it as much as possible. Okay, we'll stop here for today. It's because it's Friday. And also, the next piece, Kuf Gimel, is one of the censored pieces. So we're going to have to take it from the Sefer Tzidkas HaTzaddik Amole, which, to the best of my knowledge, is not online anywhere. I'm just going to have to photocopy it, scan it, and put it on so for you to be able to read it. And we'll do it in Mitzvah Shem on Sunday. Okay, take care. Have a good Shabbos. Interesting piece.